My name is Marcus, and I've never told anyone the full truth about what happened at Holloway's pumpkin patch in October of 2019. Not my parents, not the police, not even my girlfriend Sarah, who was there with me that night. I was 16 when Sarah suggested we go to Holloway's pumpkin patch for their nighttime corn maze. It was supposed to be romantic, harvest moon, apple cider, the whole autumn thing. The place was an old farm about 40 minutes outside town, the kind that felt frozen in time with ancient barn wood and rusted equipment scattered everywhere. The corn maze was the main attraction. 10 acres of dead, dried stalks cut into some elaborate scarecrow pattern. The owner, this weathered man named Mr. Holloway, stood at the entrance giving instructions with pale, watery eyes that seemed afraid. Stay on the path. Don't damage the crops. And whatever you do, don't answer if you hear your name called from the corn. Sarah laughed it off, said he was just adding atmosphere. But I noticed he wasn't smiling. We entered at 7:47 p.m. The path was narrow, maybe 3 feet wide, with corn stalks reaching 13 feet high on both sides. They rustled constantly, even though there was no wind. For 20 minutes, everything was normal. We laughed, took selfies, held hands. Then we hit an intersection with 3 branching paths, and I heard it. Marcus, a breathy whisper from the right path. My name and something that sounded like Sarah's voice, but wrong, like a bad impression. Sarah didn't hear it, too focused on her phone's GPS. But I heard it again. Marcus, help me. Every instinct screamed at me to run, but Sarah was already walking down the left path. I followed. The maze stretched on forever. 40 minutes in, my phone still showed 7:47 p.m., the same time we'd entered. Sarah's phone died suddenly, even though she'd had 67% battery. This is bullshit, she muttered. Let's just cut through the corn. I grabbed her arm. The old man said stay on the path. That's when we heard the screaming. Somewhere deep in the maze, a man's voice shrieking in terror. Then it cut off abruptly, like someone flipped a switch. We heard footsteps next. Running, coming toward us. Fast. We ran. I don't know how long we ran through those twisting paths. The footsteps stayed behind us, never closer, never farther. Just following. Sarah was crying, gasping for air, until we hit a dead end, a wall of dead corn stalks. The footsteps stopped. We stood there, trying not to breathe too loud, pressed against the corn. Then I heard Mr. Holloway's voice from somewhere above us. I told you not to stop. But it couldn't be him. The voice came from up in the corn stalks. I made the mistake of looking up. There were things hanging in the corn, dozens of them. I thought they were scarecrow decorations at first, but then one moved, turned its head, looked down at us with eyes that reflected our light like an animal's. They were all around us, above us, watching. Sarah screamed, and they all started moving at once. My next clear memory is the parking lot. Both of us covered in scratches from tearing through the corn. Mr. Holloway stood by the maze entrance, watching us. When I made eye contact, he shook his head slowly, disappointed. I didn't talk to Sarah for 3 days. When I finally called her, she acted like nothing happened. Said we'd had a nice time, just bought pumpkins and left. When I pressed her about the things in the corn, she got quiet. Marcus, we never went into the maze. Don't you remember? I was too scared. We just bought pumpkins and left. I checked my phone photos from that night. Only one existed. Sarah by the car holding a pumpkin. 7:47 p.m. timestamp. But I have scars on my arms from the corn. I have memories of running until my heart nearly exploded. Last week, I drove past Holloway's. Abandoned. Boarded up. The for sale sign said the property had been vacant since 2017, 2 years before we went there. I still hear my name sometimes late at night when the wind blows, and I wonder if I ever really left that maze, if this is real, or if I'm still running through those dead corn stalks. Still running, still lost, still trapped. My name is Jenna, and I need to tell you about the last night I spent with my little brother Charlie. The night of the Millbrook Fall Festival. The night everything went wrong and he never came home. October 15th, 2021. I was 17, Charlie was 9. Mom forced me to take him to our town's annual fall festival because she and Dad were fighting. I was on my phone most of the drive, barely listening to Charlie's excited chatter about the hayride and games. The festival was packed with families, string lights, the smell of kettle corn. Charlie grabbed my hand, something he rarely did anymore, and pulled me toward the game booths. We played ring toss, lost at basketball, and I bought him a candy apple that got all over his face. We laughed. God, I wish I could hear that laugh again. As the sun set, we got in line for the hayride, the main event. A tractor pulled a trailer through the woods behind the festival grounds with volunteers in costumes, jumping out to scare you. Charlie had talked about it all week. We stood in line for 20 minutes. I scrolled Instagram while Charlie bounced with excitement. When I finally looked down at him, he'd gone quiet, staring into the dark tree line. Charlie, you okay? He didn't answer, just stared. His hand in mine had gone cold. She's calling me, he whispered. Who's calling you? The lady in the trees. She wants me to come play. I looked at the tree line, saw nothing but shadows. Charlie, there's no one there. He looked up at me with eyes that seemed darker, distant. She says only special kids can see her. Kids who don't belong here. He smiled, but it wasn't his smile. Too wide, too knowing. She wants to show me where I really belong. Before I could react, he yanked free and ran toward the woods. I screamed and pushed through the crowd. Nobody seemed to notice. I ran after Charlie as he disappeared into the trees. The woods swallowed me. 1 second I was at a bright festival, the next surrounded by darkness and silence. The festival sounds faded, replaced by crunching leaves and my ragged breathing. Charlie, I could hear him ahead, running, laughing that wrong laugh. Then I broke into a clearing. Charlie stood in the center, back to me, completely still. Charlie, thank God. Let's go home. He didn't move. Slowly, he turned around. It was Charlie. Same clothes, same face, but his eyes were completely black. And that horrible, too wide smile. She says I can stay here now, he said in his voice. She says I belong to the woods. I always did. Who? Charlie. Who are you talking about? He tilted his head. The harvest mother. She takes one child every year when the leaves fall. She chose me, Jenna. Behind Charlie, something emerged from the trees. Shaped like a woman, but too tall, maybe 8 feet. Her body seemed made of twisted branches and dead vines. Her face was a hollow wooden mask with 2 black holes for eyes. She moved wrong, too fluid, not bound by joints or bones. She reached one branch-like arm toward Charlie. I grabbed him, tried to pull him back, but he was rooted to the spot, unmovable. His skin felt like bark. Charlie, please. For a second, his eyes cleared. He was my little brother again. Scared. Jenna, I can't move. Help me. The harvest mother's hand touched his shoulder. Charlie screamed, not human, but like wine through dead branches, like leaves falling, like something ancient feeding. I ran. God help me. I couldn't hold on and I ran. The forest pushed me back toward the lights. I fell to my knees in the grass, sobbing. They searched all night. Dogs, helicopters, every inch of the woods. They never found Charlie. At the library, I found newspaper archives going back to 1721. Every October, a child disappears during the Millbrook Fall Festival. Different names, different families. Always near the woods. Never found. No bodies. The oldest article from 1721 mentioned settlers making a bargain with something in the woods. A harvest pact. Protection for the town in exchange for tribute. Last week was October 15th, 2024. 3 years later, I drove past the festival grounds and saw a little girl, maybe 6, standing at the tree line staring into the woods. Her mother pulled her back toward the lights. The little girl was smiling. That too wide smile. The harvest never stops. Every year forever. The town made a deal 300 years ago, and we're all still paying. Charlie's gone. Taken. Harvested. But next October, the harvest mother will come again, and she'll take another child. Maybe yours. My name is Samuel Reeves, and I used to be a landlord in Portland, Oregon. I own 3 rental properties, and for 11 months out of the year, they provide decent income. But I don't rent them in October anymore. Not after 2022. Not after Mr. Ashford. The property was a Victorian duplex built in 1889. Beautiful place, hardwood floors, original crown molding, bay windows. My previous tenant had broken her lease suddenly on September 1st, said she couldn't stay there anymore, and left in the middle of the night. On October 3rd, 2022, a man called about the vacancy. Professional voice. Said his name was Elliot Ashford, relocating for a job in historical preservation. He wanted to see it immediately. He arrived at exactly 3 p.m. Tall, maybe 6'4", thin in a way that seemed wrong. 3-piece suit, charcoal gray, old-fashioned cut. His face was the most forgettable I'd ever seen. Couldn't tell his age, somewhere between 35 and 60. But his hands, his fingers were too long. Unnatural. His handshake was cold. Not cool. Cold. He walked through slowly. Those 2 long fingers trailing the walls. Spent a long time in the back bedroom, facing the old cemetery. This would do nicely. I'll take it. 6 months up front. Cash. When I mentioned background checks, he pulled out an envelope. I prefer to avoid that. 12 months up front. Cash. Plus an extra month as a discretion fee. Over $28,000 in cash. I took it. He had 3 requirements. Move in that night. I could never enter the apartment, and he'd be conducting research at odd hours. I shouldn't worry about noises. He moved in at exactly midnight. I heard footsteps overhead, back and forth, for hours. The first week was quiet. Then the temperature dropped, just in the hallway and stairwell to his unit. By October 10th, I could see my breath. My thermostat said 68 degrees. That hallway felt like 40. Neighbors complained about chanting. Not English. Something older that made their baby cry every night at 3 a.m. The street light outside his window kept burning out. I replaced it 3 times in 1 week. And there were visitors. People arriving after dark. One at a time. Different people every night. But they all looked wrong. Too tall. Too thin. Moving like Mr. Ashford did. All wearing old-fashioned clothes from different centuries. Around 2 a.m. on October 18th, I watched a woman in a Victorian dress climb the exterior stairs. She wasn't walking. She was floating 6 inches off each step. On October 23rd, I waited for him to leave, then used my master key. The smell hit me first. Funeral home scent mixed with something rotten. The lights didn't work. Using my phone flashlight, I saw the furniture was gone. The floor was covered in symbols drawn in something dark like dried blood and ash. The walls were covered in old photographs. Hundreds. Daguerreotypes from the 1800s. Different people, different time periods. But in every single photo, standing in the background, Mr. Ashford. Same face, same suit. In photos from 1860, 1882, 1903, 1945, all the way to 1989. He hadn't aged in 130 years. In the back bedroom, he'd removed the floorboards. Underneath was a pit going down impossibly deep. From it came whispers, screams, like people trapped below. On the wall he'd written, "The October passage opens when the veil is thinnest. 31 nights, 31 souls. The harvest feeds the gate." Below that, 23 tally marks. He needed 8 more in 7 days. I realized the visitors never left. They went into that pit. I called 911. They came the next morning. The apartment was completely empty. No symbols. No photographs. No pit. The floor was intact. The officers thought I was insane. After they left, I found a journal in the closet. Old leather. Different handwriting and languages throughout. The most recent entry, dated October 3rd, 2022. Portland. The Victorian on Thurman Street. The landlord is desperate. He will not ask questions. This will be the 43rd October passage. Only 7 more, and the gate opens permanently. I tried tracking Mr. Ashford. Nothing existed. Even the cash he'd paid. The bank said the bills were over 50 years old. Last week, October 23rd, 2024, exactly 2 years later, I heard footsteps upstairs. The apartment's been empty for 2 years. Yesterday, I received a letter. No return address. Inside was a daguerreotype from 1872 showing my house, with Mr. Ashford on the porch. Standing next to him, in Victorian clothing, was me. Same face, same scar on my eyebrow. The note said, "Thank you for being such an accommodating landlord. The October passage of 2022 was successful. I look forward to our reunion. You simply don't remember yet. You are not the landlord. You are the doorkeeper. You have always been the doorkeeper." I researched the house. The first owner in 1889 was named Samuel Reeves. Same name as me. His photograph from 1890 shows my exact face. I found 6 more Samuel Reeves through the property records: 1889, 1923, 1957, 1978, 1991, and me in 2019. All identical. All owned this house. Every October, going back to 1890, there are police reports of 31 missing persons connected to the house. 3 nights ago, I had a memory from 1890. I was helping Mr. Ashford draw the symbols, create the pit, open the October passage. He told me I was chosen, that every October forever I would forget and do it again. The doorkeeper. Because in 1889, I said yes. A bargain with the October passage cannot be broken, only repeated, forever. I woke up this morning, October 24th, 2024, with the apartment key on my nightstand. A key I threw in the river 2 years ago. There's a pending deposit in my bank account, $28,600, with a memo, October passage rental, 2024. I found a listing for my upstairs apartment online, posted yesterday, from my email. I don't remember posting it. It's 11:47 p.m. now. In 13 minutes, someone will knock on my door. Someone in a 3-piece suit with 2 long fingers. And I'm going to let him in, take his money, give him the key. Because that's what I do. What I've always done. What I'll always do. The October passage needs its doorkeeper. And you can't take back yes. Not when it's eternal. If you're in Portland and you see a Victorian duplex for rent, don't take it. Because Mr. Ashford is still harvesting, still feeding the gate. And he's always looking for new doorkeepers. People who will say yes. People like me. People like you.